how you feeling about this big one tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's important that you remind yourself if it's there to be enjoyed, the whole opportunity of competing in Europe. You know, it doesn't come around every year for ourselves, and for a club like Kilmarnock, we would like to get to the stage where it becomes more frequent. But you know, it's important that we try and make the most of the opportunity nonetheless. I think you see the response for the supporters, both home and away. Tickets sold out. I think that tells you the impact it has on the club and everything else. But for us in the professional part of it, we want to we get the benefit of last season's efforts now, and this is the kind of kickback from it now, and we've got to try and make the most of the opportunity. I think it's important that as at any cup, you try and generate as many good moments, go as far as you can, and equally as well, I think it's got to be said that we can make some proper money. We've already made money for the club in qualifying for Europe, but proper prize money can be there for the club as well. So that aspect of it doesn't go unnoticed from us as well. So you know, I think it's an exciting time, one that we're determined to make the most of, and really looking forward to the game. I think when you look back 2.5 years ago when we took over, and no disrespect to Queen of South, we had a horrible game down at Queen of South in January. Hardly anybody there, and you know, 2.5 years on, we've got this type of fixture to look forward to, and I think it's something that everybody connected with the club has played their part. And but now we're here. That's all fine and well. We just want to go and have a go at it now and try and win the game tomorrow. The game is 180 minutes, as you know, and we just want to make sure that we're smart enough with work and good enough with work at this early stage of the season to give ourselves the best chance to progress.
Is that something you have to remind the squad of, this journey that you've been on over the past 2.5 years?
Well, on the record, I want us to try and make sure that we enjoy the winning and the performance rather than just the kind of occasion. I think the supporters can do all that. You know, the supporters can enjoy it, but I think for us, we want to try and make sure we make the most of it.
You've had plenty of experience in these kind of competitions. How important is the home leg, particularly when it's the first leg at home?
Yeah, you don't need to win the home leg, but equally, everything's so much more difficult if you don't. Certainly, losing the home leg it makes it so challenging. I think when you play the seeded team, they're clearly the favourites. They're trading in a different level from us in terms of the money involved. But you know, I still think that we have got to try and show why we're in Europe in the first place. Our home form is a huge part of that, and I think tomorrow gives us the opportunity to demonstrate what we are, what we're good at, and hopefully that can play out in terms of the result. But it's important that we go to Belgium next Thursday. We hopefully with a lead, but if not, making sure we're still very much in the tie.
Sheila mentioned the experience you have in European qualifiers. What are the biggest things you've taken from your time at Aberdeen and European qualifiers at this stage that you can take into this?
Well, we never lost to any team when we were the seed, so there was a professional aspect of it. When we played teams where we were the underdog and not the seed, we managed to take a few scalps, but equally we fell just short a lot of times. That was a stage where we had to win 4 qualifying games to get the group stage. It's different now, and I think that like any cup competition, as you get through the rounds, you play against better teams. It's normally the way. I think it's important, the discipline part of it. I think that's huge. I think referees, even domestically, the early stage of the season, early part of the season, after all the reviews and their meetings and stuff like that, some of them, I always find referees can be a wee bit card happy at times, and in Europe you don't get any grace or any real leniency. I think that's something that we've spoke about. I think we've got to be really mindful and respectful of the officials, and don't put ourselves under unnecessary pressure that way. But we got to Europe playing a certain way and playing a lot like how we want to perform. I think there is a kind of, people know how we want to play. We like to play with wide players. We like to get balls in the box. We carry a threat of set plays. The reason I've not signed too many players, I've only signed 2 players that weren't here last year, is because I enjoyed what we were last year, and I want to try and get those improvements this season from the team that was there last year. But this will be a test to see where we are. I mean, at this stage, early stage of the season, nobody's going to be perfect, including Cercle Brugge, you know, and including myself. But it's important that we try and get to a good level, because we'll need to beat a team of their quality.
On the topic of signings, are you hopeful of getting Corey and Dava back in the building, whether that is before tonight's registration deadline or not?
Listen, I've already brought Marley back from last season and Stuart Finlay, and if there's an opportunity to bring Corey back, then we would like to kind of exhaust that, and hopefully we can have some good news in bringing in one or two defenders before, because it's one area of the team we're a wee bit short, and we're a wee bit a wee bit apprehensive getting into these level of games with not having made those additions yet, but trying to hold our nerve to get the ones that we want rather than the ones that are available.
How much can a sold out crowd here really help you tomorrow night?
Well, it can. I think the crowd's always played its part. Some of the most significant nights that we've had here, or days here at Rugby Park over the last 2.5 seasons, it's been synonymous with a big crowd and a big effort for the fans. I think there's a trust in the team from the supporters, which helps. I think that we're going to need everything we can get to try and turn the advantage. Like I say, they've got huge resources over us, and they're working at a different level in terms of the finances, but we feel it's a game that we can win, and we've got to believe that.
Have you been speaking to Kilmarnock fans, or obviously people that work here as well, who are going back to previous trips and telling you how much it meant to them and how much it means to get back here? Is that something you're impressed on the players as well, just how big this is for them?
Yeah, a team meeting this morning, I think it's only right to say there's 2,500 fans, and a lot of them probably couldn't afford to shell out the money to go next week. So the importance of making that the best trip for them. The best trip is winning a game and winning a tie next week. So this is the start here. It's 180 minutes. There's a generation of Kilmarnock fans. Really, I know they had the game previously a few years ago, which didn't last long, but there's a generation of Kilmarnock fans who have not really had this opportunity to travel abroad with a team, and we want to try and make the most of it. Well, aware of the responsibilities with that, but the players have met all the responsibilities every step of the way, and this is another stage. This is a lot of my players are playing in Europe for the first time, so there's also that kind of understanding it for me. But I want us to go and not overthink it, just go and be what we are, and hopefully we can come out with a desired outcome.
Players must be relishing it then, surely.
They should be. I mean, I think they are. And I think there's always, before the first game proper anyway, there's always that extra bit of anticipation. Obviously, the last couple of years that's been through the League Cup games, but to have your first game proper in Europa League qualifier against Cercle Brugge is huge, a huge game for us, and it's a huge moment for them, the players. And a lot of these players I've signed, and Europe was mentioned. A lot of these players play in England, have played in England, and they'll never play in Europe with the greatest will in the world. They won't. They can have good careers, but they'll not play in Europe. Scotland provides that opportunity if you're working for a club that's doing its work right, and it should be important for players to try and get that on their CV, that they've competed and done well in Europe, and hopefully we can make the most of it, as I say.
Just to clear what Andrew was talking about, is there any chance of adding before 11 o'clock tonight something else?
No, we'll
This
go
is
as we
what
are.
you
Yeah.
How, in terms of the squad itself, are they where you envisaged they would be at this point in terms of fitness,
Yeah.
gelling together? Are you confident and happy with where
Yeah.
you sit going into game one?
Listen, I've done all different types of pre-seasons. I've done it Gary Megson, Walter Smith pre-season where they run you to exhaustion. I've done other pre-seasons where it's more ball work and a bit more kind of gentle and kind of more kind of building you up to it. And every game I ever played, first game competitive in the season, I was absolutely shattered. So nothing prepares the players properly for that first full game. But we've been back now over a month, and the players, we feel as though we've ticked the box with the minutes, ticked the box with the sharpness, ticked the box with that familiarity. We've had the benefit that we've only made 2 signings, Robbie and Bruce. So everybody knew each other, and that was part of the feeling that we that would maybe be of a benefit to. So this is where we want to be. This is, said that to the players today, it's like this is exactly where we want to be as a club, and hopefully we can, as I say, once that ball rolls tomorrow, we just go and set about the task of beating a good team.
You mentioned the money factor at the beginning. Can you put in context just what this has done in terms of the money and what could follow on if you do well in terms of cost beside the Kelly?
Well, it's a type of prize money that the club it'd be difficult to generate that in Scotland, even winning the cups and stuff like that. So we're well aware of the kind of benefits of getting to the group stages. But you know, a sell out Rugby Park, you know, if you do the maths, you know it's good money coming in. But it's more than that. It's generating that feel good factor. It's generating a lot of interest in the club, and we can try and tap into that. But in terms of getting to group stages, it would be hugely significant for the club in terms of trying to make steps forward. We're already trying to take steps forward with Billy building the training ground and going back to grass as soon as we can. So I think it'd be another step towards that. And you know, any money brought into the club is always badly needed by clubs like ourselves.
Team news, anything updates?
Yeah, everything's fine. Kel McInnes will miss this one. We're just trying to be really careful with Kel's pre-season work. He's one that we feel that can, with the benefit of as much training behind him, before we expose him to games. But and young boy Aaron Brown. But other than that, we're good to go.
And Kyle Vassell of
He's fine. Yeah, he was brilliant in training. If you're watching, he was brilliant. So he was really good. So hopefully takes that in it tomorrow.
First goal scorer then tomorrow?
Aye, possibly. Aye, any goal scorer will do. That was.